Welcome to StaarCast, a show about tarot, divination, and all things mystical. StaarCast is a celebration of StaarCon, the Southeastern Tarot Artist and Readers Conference. I'm Amy Mauser, and here's your host, Christiana Gaudet.
Welcome, everyone, to StaarCast. Today, I am so excited to have not one, but two guests. But our two guests have created one product that is going to be the belle of the ball for StaarCon. With me are Lainie and Joanna, the creators of the Food Healing Oracle deck. They will be presenting about this deck at StaarCon and also vending, because we cannot wait to get our hands on this deck. Lainie and Joanna, welcome to StaarCast.
Thank you. What a lovely, warm introduction. Very excited to be here and be part of this entire journey with you and all the amazing speakers. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. We're glad to be part of the team.
We've really been looking forward to it and, anticipating just gathering with a group of like-minded people. And I read some of the things that you have put together, your team have put together, and it's just going to be an amazing event. I'm so excited for January.
Excellent. We are too. So I was just reading your bios, and my understanding is both of you, Joanna and Lainie, you both have a background in tarot. You're both psychic people and have been for many, many years. You also both have a background in food. And one of the things that I was so excited about, and I think it was you, Joanna, but correct me if I'm wrong, that one of the books that inspired you was Diet for a Small Planet by Frances Moore Lopez. Was that you, Joanna?
Yes, that was me. And it ages me, of course, because that was probably over 40 years ago, and I was just getting ready to birth my first baby. And I was, a hippie, a little bit of that. In fact, a lot of that, growing my own organic garden, and read that book and subsequently became a vegetarian for about 7 years. That shifted and has shifted and continues to expand and grow as I get to know my own body's needs. But that was the beginning for me. That and William Duffy, Sugar Blues. That was the other one that really caught my attention at that particular time.
Wow, fabulous. And for you, Lainie, it was the book From the Heir to the Baskin Robbins Empire. Tell us about
it. Was, and it's wonderful that we have, Joanna and I have such similar backgrounds, but it was 30 plus years ago. I was in college. I was a business major, and I had to do a speech for speech class. And I did it on why you shouldn't eat animals. And I read John Robbins' Diet for a New America. And I was completely transformed. And I became a vegan at that time and learned a lot about food consciousness. So I switched majors. I ended up getting a degree in food science and dietetics. And so I've had this very scientific brain at the same time being a fourth generation intuitive. So I've been kind of jostling these worlds for a very long time of, the unseen and what we know to be true. And then really what is the science telling us, and seeing how through these decades, how food has transformed our lives. And we also have Mother Nature telling us it's time to go back to things being simple. I think we've all learned that in the last couple of years with what we've been doing in the pandemic. And coming together with Joanna brought this amazing pairing where we were able to put all of these ideas together and channel this wonderful wisdom from Mother Earth about messages from food, and that there's much more to say. And we just couldn't believe what unfolded. And, here we have the Food Healing Oracle deck, and we've even compared our cards to Tarot's major arcana. We've, looked at foods, how they're relating to every single part of the hero's journey. It's an astonishing uncovering And people are really resonating because, of course, everybody needs to eat, but we need to know why we're eating it and how is it affecting our wellness. So that's what's come together through Oracle of all things.
So I just think it's so interesting that you both have this background in the intuitive stuff, in cartomancy, specifically tarot, and in understanding the importance of food and diet. And I also have this whole history. I mean, the Diet for a Small Planet made me shed a tear. It was one of my mother's favorite books. Mm-hmm. And so we ate recipes from that book as I was growing up. And it just made me remember my mother in a really fond way. I was a vegetarian for many, many years. And so, this concept, you use the term food consciousness. And I think that's such an interesting term, and I can think about it in a lot of different ways. But I would love it if each of you would tell me, what is food consciousness?
For me, food consciousness is just having that awareness that food is alive, right? And we're eating foods unless we kill them completely, but foods are alive. And they also have this message for us in so many different ways than what we think. We see a strawberry, it looks luscious. We decide whether, we want to eat organic or conventional or whatever, but we see that and we know kind of what it's going to taste like and we eat it, but there's no thought of it. Well, strawberry in our Food Healing Oracle deck is our love card. And so just like in the tarot, I'm going to turn off this phone, just like in the tarot, it has many different components, the love card. But just imagine for a moment that you're biting into a strawberry with the consciousness that strawberry is offering you love. What does that do to the cells of your body? Just breathe that in, breathe the strawberry in, breathe in the fact that it is absolutely giving you love, right? Love of self, love of nutrition, love of the food. It's an offering. And so if we look at our food like an offering with consciousness, everything changes.
I love that.
Yeah.
What I'd like to say about food consciousness is that Mother Earth, Mother Nature gave us this understanding that we are connected through our food, but also through our elements, earth, air, fire, water, spirit. Our bodies have a chakra system. And what we teach in the book, in our Oracle deck, we have 8 spreads, and we help bring those connections together. Joanna mentioned love. She mentioned strawberry, and strawberry's red, and that can mean fire. And, how do we bring more passion into our life? And if, you're giving a reading and maybe that's a question of how do I bring more passion into my life? And the cards can do that. They can answer like every Oracle deck, and the character is food, but there's a consciousness also inviting you to maybe look at some of these food items when we want to eat better, when we want to have a consciousness of wellness, whether it's emotional wellness, mental wellness, physical, spiritual. The food helps provide those answers. And when you connect it into color therapy, chakra systems, and nature's 5 elements, you get a very holistic point of view. And the Oracle messages, we call them healing wisdom words. That message, along with what we call the practical gifts, we do actually give a nutritional component, really brings a completion to our readings. People love to get the readings, whether they know nothing about the esoteric world and just want to lose weight, or there's people who know nothing about, nutrition, but they're very spiritually woo-woo and they want to understand, well, what does that mean when you say that celery has a Fibonacci principle associated with it? We explore it all, from sacred geometry of food to the essences of all the elements. It's really comprehensive when we started to unfold what food wants to tell us. It's so to us, it's bringing out that consciousness for people when they read our deck, read our book, use the deck. They're getting much more than they bargained for sure.
Wow, my mind is blown. Now I cannot wait for your presentation. I'm so excited. So I just had this thought. Now, my understanding then is all of the foods in your deck are plant-based. Is that true? There is no venison card. There's no cheese card, nothing like that.
There's 60 vegetables, fruits, herbs, and spices. And we left it in vegan so everyone can partake in it. So we didn't say, those people like honey, those people don't. But we made it vegan on purpose, and there's so many. In fact, we're in the middle of writing our second deck, which is another 60 fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices. There's so much out there. There's so many exotics to share and to teach people. But, we say it jokingly, but it's true. Our deck is gluten-free. It's organic. It's non-GMO. It's vegan. It's plant-based. It's whole foods. And it's a wonderful delight. The pictures are very I'm holding up cherries, but when you go to our deck, you'll be able to see that the pictures are very vivid and bright. And there's messages even in how every single, just like Oracle decks, you run even if you never looked at the word and you really just took a moment to tune into the picture, literally, what is this bowl of cherries telling us? What is happening in this card? In fact, we teach a certification program. We've only been doing it a year. We've had about 60 people from around the world go through, but we go through all 60 cards and we tell them and we ask them, what do you see in this this papaya? What is the papaya telling you right now? And so it's pretty miraculous. What's our favorite saying, Joanna?
You will never look at food.
You'll never look at
again.
Right. You never will look at food the same way again.
And our Oracle deck provides a new kind of language. So Lainie and I talk in food speak all the time, like I'm just filled with mango today, and mango is our joy card, or I'm feeling an asparagus moment, which is transformation. It's like, so we talk in food language. And before the end of the weekend of our certification classes, so is our students talking in this food language. And we just love it. I mean, it's just, it's very inspiring, for us to see people get what our mission is. And that is education, intuition, all the things that we bring together, either when we do a reading in a tarot deck or whether we do it with an oracle deck. There's those light bulb moments, but this is food. They're going to go in their fridge and they're going to see blueberries and realize that they're eating some clarity, and it kind of just blossoms from there.
So I have a question. I can understand how oranges would be sunshine, strawberries would be love, mangoes would be joy. I get that. How did asparagus become transformation?
Well, go ahead, Lainie.
Well, you would need to look at the card, but that's where the science of knowing asparagus. So we always tune in, and asparagus contains more glutathione than any other vegetable. If you were on a desert island and you can only bring one vegetable with you, what would be the healthiest? And it would be asparagus. And we need glutathione because that's what helps detoxify the liver and clean us out. So if there's anything more transformative, there isn't. Asparagus is really the most transformative vegetable on the planet. So that is why it's transformation. And when the stalks stand up in our pictures on the deck, you can actually see it's kind of like when we're ready to transform in our life, we stand up tall, we step into our power, and we kind of stand there like putting our staff in the ground. So there's a little bit of a nutrition and an esoteric meaning behind why some of the cards became the cards. And it's really fun to kind of figure it out. Well, why did they choose that? And actually, we didn't choose. We were told we were told what matched up. And in every modality we use to pair up everything, and it seemed to really resonate with people. We're building a wonderful audience in Japan and Australia and different parts of the world, and it's just wonderful hearing how they are connecting to foods, and even maybe foods that we might not know of, but somehow it's striking a wonderful chord.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah, it has been an amazing journey. And even at the beginning, when Lainie and I first had this first conversation about our love of food, and we came together because I started recording meditations at her husband's recording studio, and then we had this conversation about our love for food, and we felt that Spirit's hand on our back. I mean, we both felt this, kind of like, it's now, you got to do this now. And when we channeled the words to the foods, we're like, what the heck? And then I cannot believe the evolution of what has happened since. As Lainie said in the beginning, of course, we did the deck, and then we had a certification class. And then from that, like this weekend, we're having an essential oils chakra food healing class just this weekend. And we've had ascended masters and archangels classes, combining the food healing oracle deck with the 7 rays of light. I mean, there's just been so much that this deck is teaching us, because we are feeling Spirit's call, and we are hearing it and answering the best that we can.
You mentioned the Tower card, but when you think about transformation, which major arcana card comes to mind?
Transformation, right? We were talking about Tower before we started recording, just the backstory on this, having to do with the card I was getting when I decided to plan an international conference. And this was in like 2018, 2019, pulling cards. How will this be? Got the Tower, and there's COVID. So we were having that conversation. But what card would I see for transformation? Probably death.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So when we teach our class and people go, well, how does this relate to the major arcana? We literally can take our fruits and vegetables, our herbs and spices, and our cards, and they pair up. And this was well after the cards were established. We didn't write the cards and go, let's see how it relates to tarot. This is what unfolded, like Joanna had said, with the archangels and ascended masters. These came out later, but then now that's one of our most popular classes, is explaining how the divination of food, which we'll be teaching at StaarCon, relates to the major arcana, is that the food is also part of our journey, just like the hero's journey in that major arcana set. And it's pretty amazing to see that. So if you are going through transformation, or if you are going through, the fool's journey, we have a card that relates to it. We didn't know that. That's not what was in the originally, but it turned out that they matched perfectly.
Wow. So I'm thinking about, I have a particular question here. I'm like so intrigued now. And I have to say, when you first reached out to me about the food healing oracle deck, I was like, what? Like it was hard for me to wrap my brain around it. Now that I'm speaking with you, I'm like so excited about it. I'm oh my gosh. And I think everyone else is going to feel the same way too, because it's universal. We all eat food.
Yeah.
We all want to eat better. I mean, unless we're already like having a perfect diet, and I don't know anyone who is, especially coming out of lockdown and pandemic and all of that. Probably none of us ate, I mean, I want my strawberry sundae card. I want, but we have
apple pie a la mode.
We have these personal relationships with food. And I want to try to back engineer something. So,
all right.
Is there a beet card in the food healing oracle deck?
Well, yes, there is.
Do you want us to answer that, or do you want to finish? Well, there is, yes.
There is. Okay.
And?
So now, yes. Okay, good. So I want to share with you my relationship with beet. And then I would love to know what beet is in your deck and what you think about this, right? So I hate beets. I'll say it now. I'll say it loud. I hate beets. As a grown-up, I have tried to evolve my food taste, and there has been one food that I hated as a child that I now love, and I want to do this one next. I won't share what it is yet because we'll see if it's in the deck. But beet, I am still working on evolving beets. I have gotten to the point now where I won't not eat them if they're served to me, but that's huge. That's huge. So, and I know they're good for me. I know they're really important. One of my best friends is a yogi who makes juices, and a lot of them are beet based. So she's always giving me beet juice, and I'm drinking it because I know I'm supposed to. But tell me, what is beet, and what does it mean that I have such an acrimonious relationship with beet?
Joanna, how about I hold the card and you begin, and then I'll add in. How's that?
Okay, that sounds good. So beets is our grounding card, right? And of course, when you look at the image,
look at her. She's like thinking it.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead.
So, as you look at our beets card, you see a lot of the little fibers that, of course, are the roots of the beet. And they go very deep. If you've ever picked beets from the ground, which I have, the roots go very long, right? Little hairy fibers going down. And so if you were to set, as you said, I don't like beets. So what is it? I would ask you, the inquiry question is, what makes you feel the most grounded? And do you think you're grounded enough? And what is it about, being so planted into the earth that might give you, some trepidation, right? What is it about that? And so seeing what cards, of course, come next to it and all of that. But beets is our grounding card. And it's very, very, as you said, very healthy, but it is a taste that not everybody likes. But to me, beets taste like the very earth that they're grown in. The very earth that they're grown in. I want to have communion with the earth, and eating beets gives me that communion.
From a nutritional standpoint, beets are really amazing for cleaning the blood. And so there is a grounding physical attribute that takes place, is that it's a cleanser. And it does lots of wonderful things for our heart. It does lots of wonderful things for the body. That's why it's so popular on a nutritional point of view. It helps with blood pressure. It helps with a lot of different things. And so in a way, it's kind of rebooting and regrounding ourselves. So as Joanna says, we connect back to the mother because it is the roots. It's when you look at it from an elemental point of view, it's earth. And so what can we do? Now, what I would suggest, and this happens a lot, people go, well, I don't like eggplant, I don't like beets or whatever. What else is this card telling you? A, it can mean root chakra. B, it can mean is there something in my life that requires more grounding? Do I need to spend more time planting myself and getting out of my head, which is the air element? So that card can tell you a lot just by one food. Or if you don't like it, maybe the color of fuchsia or the color of red, or sometimes beets come in other colors. People who've been allergic to certain foods but want to invoke the energetics around it will wear the color or put something of that color, either wearing it or in their altar. So there's lots of ways to bring in the energy of beets for grounding.
So I will just say, I could tell you, like when you do a reading and the person wants to tell you all the reasons why you're right. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. I will just tell you I feel seen and called out by the beet.
There's no judgment in our deck. There is absolutely no judgment in our deck at all.
pretty positive deck, but we do have a few cards that make you like, eggplant is our shadow card. I mean, we do have things that confusion would be cilantro. We have a few cards that make you, think them for a moment.
Cilantro is confusing. Oh my gosh. I love this deck already. I cannot wait to get my hands on it in January. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to ask you about one more.
Okay.
Do Brussels sprouts appear in your deck?
They sure do.
Okay, so let me tell you my relationship with Brussels sprouts.
Okay.
All right. I'm having so much fun with this, and I could go on. I have eggplant is my favorite. Yeah, I mean, we could talk forever about this. I like this reverse engineered reading. I'm having fun with this. Anyway, my relationship with Brussels sprouts. I hated them as a child. I thought they were the devil's own invention. As an adult, they are my very, very favorite. And they are something I think about when you have such a intense dislike of something, and then suddenly one day it clicks and you like it. And that's true for a lot of things in life. And that's my relationship with Brussels sprouts. So now, drum roll, please. What do Brussels sprouts do in your deck?
All right. Brussels sprouts is our connection card. And connection. And when you look at, not in this particular picture, but when you look at how Brussels sprouts are grown, they're all connected in one accord, really. So it's depending on where it comes up in a reading, but when you think about how do I reconnect with myself? How do I connect with my community? How do I be seen, acknowledged? How do I see and acknowledge others? Where's the connection? And where it comes up in a reading is very telling. But when you get the connection card, not only is it Brussels sprouts, but you look at this as very green, right? Brussels sprouts is very green. When it steams up, it's very bright green. So that's very much illuminating of the heart chakra. And so we are also connecting back into our heart. When we connect with like-minded friends, family, community, that's what we're looking for when we get the Brussels sprouts card.
Wow.
Joanna?
And they're filled with amino acids. I mean, they're so good for you when you're eating them. When as a kid, I used to peel off the leaves and do this little, kid thing with the, leaves, kind of like, he loves me not, but not like that. But they are great at helping to fight breast cancer. They are awesome at repairing the stomach lining. They just have so many wonderful physical properties, right? We all know that when our physical body is working well, everything else seems to work well, right?
It's all connected.
Health is wealth, right? It's all connected. Brussels sprouts show that to us in a very real way, not only by how they're grown, but how the leaves are formed around each other and very connected, and by the properties that Brussels sprouts gives us. So your body has responded in a way to Brussels sprouts now and says, I like these because they are helping my body be physically well and for me to feel good. Right. So, we come into these things. You'll come into beets. Don't worry about it.
I'm trying. I'm really, really trying. I promise you. Thank you for playing that game with me, man. I cannot. I'm so excited. And so from what I'm hearing from you, the ways that you've developed to work with this deck, you have special spreads. Just tell us a little bit about the different ways that you have created and discovered for working with the Food Healing Oracle deck.
Sure. There's a lot of times where people think it has to be a question when they're having a reading about food. And that's not the case at all. Just like unicorns or animals or titans, there's different characters within an oracle deck. Ours is food. Ours just happens to also have an extended meaning of what the food does. But we have 8 spreads in the book, and from a single card spread, and they're all food themed. So our daily special, as if you went to a restaurant. We even have a 2-card spread which is baked or steamed. Like, should I move to LA or should I move to Florida? And so we themed all of our spreads, and then we've written a few of our own. We have a chakra spread, 7 chakra spread card. We have an 8 card spread, which is the Horn of Plenty, which is, Thanksgiving. We talk about that cornucopia of abundance. We keep it all food related. We do a dial of 8 cards and how to bring in abundance in areas of your life. So we've created some very unique spreads, and then we have ones that everyone loves to do. They love a 3-card spread. They love a 4-card spread. And we give them suggestions because you can ask any question, of course, and you can also look at this deck and say, what does my body need today? What do I need to be eating? What is my chakra needs for today? You can find actual, like, wow, I'm missing a mineral. Pulling a card, wow, okay, maybe my pH is off. Maybe I need to have a little bit more balance. And you pull the cucumber card, which is our balance card. It literally, we call it real-time wisdom because the cards are so spot on that if you are asking, intending to know what does my body need today, you're in the grocery store, what should I have tonight? It will respond accordingly like every other question. And then, Joanne, you want to talk about our Make a Meal spread?
Yes, our Make a Meal spread is a 6-card spread. And so, we have had, before COVID really got bad, we had some events where we had people come and we would do this Make a Meal spread. And so often the response would be, oh my God, I just bought these items at the grocery store. Or we would encourage them, let's pick the cards and see if you can make a recipe from them. Of course, they answer the esoteric questions as well that people have, but it's really fun to play with the different foods. And so that is what spurred Lainie and I on to write our smoothie book, which is a smoothie book that also has an oracle message, an affirmation, if you will, by combining these foods in a smoothie. So we have, 7 rays of light smoothies. We have hot smoothies, cold smoothies. We have the element smoothies and chakra smoothies. So they're in our smoothie book, we have all of these different combinations of food that actually kind of were born from this Make a Meal spread because we realized that certain foods just marry so well together and taste so good together. And we had so much fun writing that book. That's what we were doing during lockdown, was writing the smoothie book. And that was fun.
That papaya is our flow card. And so if someone wants to bring more flow into their life, or they want to let things go, they've been holding on to things, we took the papaya, which is the flow, and we paired it up with some of the other ones. Watermelon is our release card. So we literally took 3 to 5 cards and made recipes, if they're going through grief, if they need to heal, if they need to have better digestion, and made this. So it's sort of now a companion. If people know the deck, they would love the smoothie book because we created an energetic affirmation. And it's just like Dr. Emoto, where you're drinking the water and the water is telling you, I'm drinking love. And you can actually change that chemical structure. The alchemy is already in the water. And so we have done that also with food. It's the same intention. We're drinking what we are intending. I would love more abundance. We have an abundance recipe, and apples is our abundance card for many reasons, including what you see on the picture. So we have woven a really unique basket, about a bushel and a basket of great nourishment on all levels. And it just keeps tying in. And now, like we had said, we're on our second deck of 60 more. And who knows what we'll have by January, Well, at least maybe hopefully have a blueprint of the second one as well. So we're excited to be there.
Oh my goodness gracious. So the Food Healing Oracle deck, from what I'm understanding, this is like any Oracle deck. You can do readings on anything, but it is also a deck that can very specifically help you connect with food, which is, a universal thing we all have in common. We all need food. So exciting. So glad to have you as part of the StaarCon family. You will be presenting and vending in person. And you're both Florida girls like me. Is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where in Florida are you?
Joanna?
I am on the West Coast in Fort Myers, but I lived in Hollywood, Florida and North Miami, Florida for many years. So it feels like to me, I'll be visiting back home, in Miami. I'm originally from New Jersey, but have been a planted Floridian for over 45 years now. So
I don't live too far from Joanna. I live on an island just off the coast of Cape Coral. It's not an island that's really well known. Most people know Sanibel and Captiva, but I'm on a different island out there on a palm tree farm, and we have lots of fruits and vegetables: mango trees, lychees, avocados, mulberries. So we're very inspired just by looking around and having that as our home base here, headquarters. We look and we see Mother Nature. I mean, this is pretty much the inspiration right here.
That is amazing. So if people want to learn more about you and what you're doing, what is your home on the internet?
Wonderful. Foodhealingdeck.com is our website. We have videos on their stories. We do have a pretty robust YouTube channel with lots of videos, stories. We had a show at some time. We have a podcast. We talk on different topics. But foodhealingdeck.com is our main hub. We're on Facebook as well, and we're just now getting on TikTok. That's our new adventure.
We also have an app on Indigo's Oracle that people can download and look at and browse through our cards. We have gotten a lot of people from, as Lainie said, Japan and Australia. The world became open to us because of the app, And of course, we're on Amazon and Etsy and all the platforms that people can go and purchase alongside with our website.
So
thank you for that.
Healing Deck, foodhealingdeck.com. It's the Food Healing Oracle Deck. Lainie and Joanna, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us here on StaarCast, and I cannot wait to hang out with you in person at StaarCon January 21st through 23rd, 2022. Tickets are available now. Go to StaarCon.com. StaarCon.com. Get your ticket so that you can meet Lainie and Joanna in person and get your hands on that Food Healing Oracle Deck. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Blessings.
Thank you so much. See you in January.
Thanks for joining us for StaarCast. For more information about our annual conference, visit us online at StaarCon.com. That's StaarCon.com. We are looking forward to seeing you in January.